Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam. Our guest today is Molly Bohn. Molly serves as the chair of the Grant County Republican Party, and Grant County is in southwest Wisconsin. And Molly has a lot of experience in politics. She has served in various roles in the political world, including working as a campaign manager and a grassroots organizer. So, Molly, it's great to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Yes, no, thank you, Tassif, and thank you for letting me be on your podcast again.
Now, Molly, I remember that the last time we spoke, you were the vice chair of the Grant County Republican Party, and now you are the chair. So tell me a little bit about your experience as the chair so far. And also, I want to learn a little bit more about your experience with your executive board and the people that you serve with in the county party.
Sure, yeah. So I was elected chair, and it's been a great experience, a lot at once when we hold our caucuses in January, and then you have the third district caucus delegates, all that, our Lincoln Day dinner. So a lot at the beginning, but luckily our the previous chair, Bill, he stayed on as my second vice chair, and I talked to him a lot, and he helps through that. So I'm very blessed to have such a great executive board. My vice chair is Caden Krapp, who was the previous vice chair of College Republicans. He was the College Republican president at UW-Platteville. So it's great to have his years. And then I have a wonderful new treasurer, Mary. She's become my right-hand woman, helping me organize events. She has such a big drive to do fundraising. And just willing to do whatever is asked for the county party. And then I have Marcella, our longtime secretary. We were just in a parade on Saturday, and her daughter, Marcella's in a wheelchair, but her daughter pushed her through the parade in her wheelchair. So, nothing will stop her from getting out and supporting Republicans.
Yeah. So Grant County GOP recently participated in some events, and as you mentioned, you had the parade, and then also other events in the recent past. So I want to hear a little bit more about the events that you're participating in, and what exactly are you hearing from the people as you interact with the people of Grant County? What are the issues they are talking to you about?
Yeah, so beyond the parades that we do, which is just great exposure, we also have our monthly meetings. Members are allowed to vote, but anyone is able to attend those meetings because we want to include everyone, especially if they've first time attending. So this last monthly meeting, we had Jenna, the RPW Election Integrity Director, give a presentation on poll workers because we have a lot of people interested, and we're really trying to push that as we do not have a lot of Republican nominated poll workers in some of our larger municipalities. That's something that I'm trying to line up to get that, especially the special voting deputies. And so each month, I try to have a highlighted speaker to really drive that. And then we have our Lincoln Day dinner, our annual Lincoln Day dinner, and as well as our annual summer picnic, which this is in August, and we had a wonderful turnout for that. Usually on off election years, we would probably have around 40, but we had over 70 people attend this August, which was amazing. We had the governor candidates come, as well as Eric Toney, John, the treasurer, as well as David Varnum, who's now running for lieutenant governor as well. So we had a great lineup of speakers, as well as our state representative, Travis Tranel, and Howard Markline as well there. So that's some of our big events. We also held a candlelight vigil for Charlie Kirk and other victims of senseless political violence. And we were able to partner with the UW-Platteville College students, as well as Turning Point chapter at the university as well. We do try to partner with the college Republicans a few times a year, whether we hold a meeting on their campus with them or we watch political debates, do watch parties with them. We try to engage the campus there, as well as we're going to be adding a new member on our executive board for a college Republican representative to try to engage the college campus more.
Yeah. And what are you hearing from? What are the big topics you're hearing from the people?
Sure. Yeah. So in Grant County, because we are in the corner of the state, taxes is a big thing, especially on our
Hmm.
small businesses, because we're competing for businesses as well as employees with Iowa and Illinois. So that's, I know, a big issue for small business owners in this area, competing for employees. And then as a region, we're always competing for businesses to come here as well. Another thing is renewable energy on agricultural land is a very hot button topic around here. I know President Trump and Congress has done a great job with the One Big Beautiful Bill. Going to be slowly rolling back those federal tax incentives on this renewable energy problem, but unfortunately, the Democrat leadership of Governor Evers and his administration are pushing all these projects through, even though that it's largely not supported by the public, but we recognize it is a very complicated issue with private landowner rights as well. But that's a big topic around here. But I think just taxes as well as our schools. Um, a lot of the schools around here are really great. They are going to referendum a lot, and a lot of conservatives don't believe that they need to go to referendum and they need to tighten up their budget, as well as stay away from the social LGBTQ promoting diversity inclusion in this area. We've had some parents try to bring up books that were in the middle school library in Platteville that had pornographic material, incest, other horrific stuff that middle schoolers don't need to be reading. However, the liberal school board continued to allow that in the public schools. So we've been seeing more parents wanting to get involved, running for school board and things like that as well. So those are, I mean, there's lots of things going on, but
Right.
I think those are some of the big issues just in this corner of the state.
Yeah. November 2024 was a big victory with Wisconsin voting for Donald Trump. So let's recap the results from Grant County. How did Grant County perform in November of
Yes.
2024?
Yeah, Grant County, we continue to trend Republican. Every election, we keep on getting more and more votes, getting more percentage of the vote. So it's very exciting to see, especially as the chair of the county party and all the hard work that we've put in throughout the years, especially Bill Beefer, the previous chair, who worked for 12 years as chair and seeing all that hard work pay off. So in 2024, we got 3% more of the vote for President Trump than we did in 2020, and we got 1,700 more votes overall this past election. So we really were able to drive out that vote, and people were just very enthusiastic for President Trump.
Yeah. And I remember the election night. It was so amazing, especially when that announcement came that Wisconsin has chosen Donald Trump.
Oh
Uh,
yes, being at an election watch party that night was, yes, it was great to be a part of that.
Absolutely. Now, right after the 2024 victory, we lost in 2025 spring. We lost the Supreme Court race, and so I want to ask you, in your opinion, why do you think we the conservatives lost the spring 2025 Supreme Court race?
Yeah, I mean, Brad Schimmel, he did a lot of work. He put lots of time and energy in the race. I think you see this a lot after a presidential race where people just got, the other side gets so motivated. And we saw a lot about that. I know a lot of people wanted more talk about the issues and how he would vote on things. I think that was a general thing from the constituents or the people in my county. But I would say for Grant County, we actually improved our Republican Supreme Court race. Um, Grant County went for Janet Protasiewicz, and this last election we did vote for Brad Schimmel. So we were able to flip that 4% flip there. So I'm very proud of Grant County for that. It was unfortunate that we couldn't get all that across the state, but it's hard to get some of those individuals who only vote for presidential elections to come out and vote. And I think that was a large part of it, but the left was motivated as well to win.
Now, what lessons can we learn from the 2025 Supreme Court race loss, as well as some of the other losses in previous Supreme Court races that we've seen, in recent years? So, and the second part of my question is, what should be the conservatives' strategy as we approach the 2026 spring elections? A two-part question. I'll let you answer.
Sure. First and foremost, I think we need to really point out how radical these leftist judges are, and all the rulings that have happened so far. I mean, they're trying to redo maps on a whim to box out our Republican voters who don't. We in Grant County are not the same as outside of Madison, Oregon, but now we are in the same district. You know, a lot of that stems from the loss of the Supreme Court, as well as protecting. They're going to be on protecting abortion, the right to murder babies. We need to really attack the leftist Supreme Court, as well as counter if we get attacked, if our candidate gets attacked, being very forefront in attacking and defending our candidate as well, and not taking it. They're going to try to spread lies. They're going to try to attack us. And so we need to make sure that we're on the offense as well, sharing the truth as much as possible.
Yeah. So, speaking in general terms, I believe that an incumbent always has an advantage going into an election. Now, for the Supreme Court election that is coming up in 2026, the incumbent conservative justice, Rebecca Bradley, is not running for re-election. And I think, this is my opinion, I think it's a huge loss for the conservatives to lose Rebecca Bradley because she's not running. But on the other hand, we're seeing that liberal candidate Chris Taylor has been campaigning for months now because she announced her candidacy, I believe it was back in May. Now, we know that we the conservatives, we have a candidate now. It's Judge Maria Lazar. She has stepped forward to run as a conservative, but we're still months behind in the campaign. So my question to you is, have you had a chance to speak with the campaign of Judge Maria Lazar yet? Have you heard from them? And what are your overall thoughts about Maria Lazar as a candidate?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have not heard directly from the campaign or been talking to them yet, but I hope to do that in the near future, invite them to either a monthly meeting or host a special event for her so people in Grant County can hear from her directly on what she stands for and allow her to gain that support. I think, yeah, the hard work. She's going to have to hit the ground running to close that 2-month gap that Chris Tyler was able to get on her. And as Republicans, I haven't heard of anyone else jumping in the primary for the Republican Party, but anyone is going to be better than Chris Tyler. And so we'll definitely support whatever Republican is running, if it is Maria there at the end of the primary, if there is a primary at all. I think focusing on the issues and getting the Republican nomination for Supreme Court out there and emphasizing how it is important to get her elected and how radical Chris Tyler is, or if there's any other Democrat that would jump in the race. But if we lose if we lose another spot on the Supreme Court, I mean, even if we get a Republican governor in, I mean, they'll be fighting the Supreme Court every step of the way.
Yeah. We, the conservatives here in Wisconsin, we are really tired of losing the Supreme Court elections. And so what are the chances that we win this upcoming Supreme Court race next year? Now, you've been in politics for many years, and if, let's say that you're advising Maria Lazar's campaign, what advice would you give to our conservative candidate, Maria Lazar?
I don't know if I'm that experienced or high up to give all that advice, but I mean, it's going to be a tough race. There's going to be lots of money, like there has been the last couple of Supreme Court races or any race in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is the pinnacle of a purple state right now in the country. I mean, in 2022, we elected Evers as well as Ron Johnson, Derek Van Orden. It was just a weird experience during that race. So I think people want to hear from the candidate themselves. So getting out there, putting on the miles, talking to people is very important, especially in the rural areas. I think after the assassination and the murder of Charlie Kirk, I've seen an uptick of people who want to get involved, who want to stay active now. And I think that is something that we need to remind people that it's not just a presidential election and that you need to vote in these other elections because they have huge consequences. If the left continues to get control over this state, our rights as conservatives will continue to diminish, and the school choice that conservatives want can get knocked down easily with the Supreme Court. So I think there's a lot on the line, and we have to remind those people, especially if they're fired up again, like I said, with the getting a Republican governor. That's awesome. But if we don't get someone in the Supreme Court that's going to support the governor and some conservative policies, then it's going to be hard to get anything truly accomplished in the executive branch.
Let's talk about something else that's very, very important also, the local races in the spring. So we're talking city, village, town board elections. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of these local races across the state?
Yeah, I mean, I always say that local races, local governments affect people's daily lives more than what they realize. I mean, especially your local taxes. If you own a home, your property taxes, you know, in the city I live in right now, they approved a $6.9 million pool project when we have other large projects going in. Our debt is 14 million right now in the city I currently live in. But it's liberal controlled and they just keep on spending money at a whim. But with that, we had a great gentleman step up who heard the call of running. He ran this last election and he did lose, but he got great support. And when a recent council member had to step down, he went and vied to get appointed, and he was able to get appointed to the board 4-2. So he did not let that stop him, and we were able to support a candidate to get on that liberal board and hopefully put in perspective, have a voice out there that will share with the community what's going on and have a support system with the other conservative council member there. School board is another big thing, parents' rights in their education. My son just started going to school, so unfortunately that school board my son's going in is going to get a very watchful eye here now. So they better believe if something fishy is going on, one of the parents is going to be watching very closely and will speak up. But we need more parents to do that, because if you can't stand up for your children, then I mean, I feel like that's our duty as parents. So school board is a great way to get involved, especially if you're a parent or a grandparent wanting to make sure that your children is receiving the best education and focusing on what they should be teaching on, because our scores continue to decline in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the November 2026 election in the state of Wisconsin. After redistricting, things are not as favorable for the Republicans at the state level. I think we all understand that. The maps have changed, the lines have been redrawn. And so my question to you is, do you think that the Republicans will be able to hold on to the majorities in the state assembly and the state senate here in Wisconsin?
Yeah, I try to be a pretty optimistic person. I think if you put in the miles, knock on those doors, put in the work, that you can, especially when it comes to local races. I've seen local candidates who don't knock a single door and they don't get elected, and and then the following year they knock on doors and they get elected, or vice versa. So I think putting in the miles, putting in the work is very important. I know we have State Senator Howard Markline in our county who got redistricted now to Lean Dem district because they now included parts of Dane County.
Mhm.
And so he has a big battlefield, but he will not slow down. He is working. He hasn't stopped working for our district since the redistricting, even before then. And I think people know who he is. He knows that he's a genuine person, and uh, he's doing what he can to make everyone's lives better in the district as well in Wisconsin. Same thing with Travis Tranel in our district. He now has some Crawford County, so I don't know if anyone's announced an opponent against him yet. But again, he does more parades than we do in Grant County. He does every single parade. So he did 2 parades on Saturday when we only did 1. So he's out there, his kids are out there, his family's working hard to get him reelected as well. So it's just going to be putting on the miles, putting on the grind. So
Yeah, yeah. And I tend to be very optimistic as well, and I'm really hoping and praying that the Republicans can hold on to the majorities in both the chambers of the state legislature, the Assembly, and the state Senate. So now let's talk about the 3rd congressional district of Wisconsin. We have a great congressman, Derek Van Orden, congressman of the 3rd Congressional District, but there's an election coming up in November 2026. So I want to hear your thoughts about this congressional race.
yes, I mean, everyone knows how important the 3rd congressional district is, not only to the state, how competitive it is, but also for the country as a whole, with the House only having a small majority. So I know Derek. He's a great guy, great husband, great father to his children, and and a great grandfather as well. So he's going to outwork anyone in this race. He will put in the miles. He puts in the work every single day, and he cares deeply about this district. So I'm very optimistic that we're going to pull another victory in the 3rd for Derek.
Absolutely. Um, let me ask you. So we've talked about spring 2026 election that's coming up. We've talked about November 2026 that's coming up. So what are your plans as the chair of Grant County Republican Party for next year? It's going to be very busy. So what kind of outreach strategies do you have? What kind of events do you wish to organize? And the other part of the question that I want to ask is, are you planning to invite any out-of-state conservative star to come to Wisconsin to energize the grassroots? Just your overall plans heading into 2026.
Sure. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, my focus right now is getting those poll workers nominated, because I think that's going to be essential for the next couple of years, especially the special poll voting deputies that go into our nursing care facilities to help people vote, because I think that is the first and front line to make sure that our elections are secure for the next 2 years. And I know Republicans have always been worried about the security of our elections, and it's a great, easy way for people to get involved. And I've been seeing people step up and do that, which is great. So focusing on that, and then as we get into next year, hosting more special events outside of our monthly meeting, hopefully highlighting different candidates running for office, as well as just different topics as well. We also hold our Lincoln Day dinner, usually in like March or February. We're still finalizing a date there, but we're hoping to get some of those candidates or a bigger name speaker. Probably we won't be probably being able to afford paying for some of those high end speakers here in little old Grant County. But hopefully we could get a speaker that attracts people to come and get involved and support our candidates, but not just come and listen, but then go and activate them. So getting groups to go on doors to support our candidates is huge. And we do have some great local organizations that do a lot of doors. AFP has a big group here. They knock a lot of doors in our regions, and I'm thankful for all the hard work that they do, as well as I know our college Republicans have been doing more doors every year as well. So it's been great to see different conservative organizations in our area get active. So I hope to get more young moms, more young couples, and young adults to get involved, do those door knockings, because we have a gap there that I want to hit more, and then looking at doing some more paid Facebook social media ads as well, because we have not done that in the past. So looking to do that to promote our candidates coming up for the election.
Yeah. What's your message to the independent voters out there? And Wisconsin can be a swing state. We've seen that. So the independent voters and the decisions that they make at the polling location, that matters a lot. So to the independent voters, what's your message? Why should they vote for the Republicans for federal and state offices? And yeah, so I'll let you answer that.
Sure. I mean, that's a loaded question. I would first ask them what issue is the most important to them to kind of figure out what is going on with them. But I think taxes is a big thing. Governor Evers was proposing a 400% increase on our farmers on different pieces of permits and stuff. You know, Grant County being rural, that affects us everyone around here. I was talking to a friend who was knocking doors with a petition about that, and she's been able to engage the Amish in this community. The Amish doesn't usually get involved, and even they are seeing the failure of leadership from the Governor Evers administration. So there's movement there to just talk about their tax bills. With Republicans always looking to reduce it, we were able to get rid of the personal property tax a few years ago. That was pushed by Republicans, which was a great initiative. And just being fiscally responsible is a big thing. So just reminding them that. And then again, finding out what issue is important to them and speaking on that. If they have grandkids and granddaughters, you know, do they want men competing in their girls' sports with them in their locker rooms? I think that's been a very universal topic that is supported across the board between independents and conservatives, to not let men in sports in locker rooms, and reminding them that we're the party that does support getting that banned.
Yeah. So we've covered a wide variety of topics today, and I really appreciate your thoughts on the different issues. Before we conclude, I want to ask: is there anything else you'd like to add that we did not cover? There are so many issues that we can discuss, but anything else that I didn't ask you any questions about that you wish to highlight?
Yeah, I think just looking at the Republican governor race, the lieutenant governor race, we have some great candidates, and I hope that whatever we stay united through the primary process, and that we can get into the general full speed ahead, support our candidate, whether it's Tom Tiffany, Josh Schoeman, or someone else as governor, as well as David Varnum for lieutenant governor. All those statewide races that we will have on the ballot, we really need to rally behind them, get them across the finish line, because all of those gentlemen are going to be better than whoever the radical leftist, socialist, communist, whatever candidate the Democrats put across through the primary. Any of those guys are going to be way better, and we have to remember that as Republicans to stay united at the end of the day.
Yes. And finally, if someone wants to reach out to the Grant County Republican Party to learn more about the county party, to learn more about the schedule of events that are coming up, and so what is the best way to reach the Grant County GOP?
Yeah, so we have our Facebook group, Grant County, or our Facebook page, I should say, Grant County Republican Party. That's a great way to stay up to date on our events because I'll post our meetings and our events on there, as well as if you join our email list, you can message me on Facebook for that, or our email is grantwigop@gmail.com. That's the best way to stay connected as well.
All right, wonderful. Molly, thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure discussing all these very important topics. There's going to be a lot to talk about going forward. Next year is going to be super busy, I know. So thank you. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on these issues here on this podcast.
Yes, no, thank you so much for having me on, Tasa.
All right. Thank you so much, and we'll continue the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.